Okay, so do you want to charge more for your services, but you feel either tied to what the market charges or what you think the clients that you work with are willing to pay? So if you want to up level your pricing, I want to talk to you about a big mistake that I see a lot of business owners making over and over again that really causes them to stay stuck in the low to mid range fee structure. So when I see this, it's a lot like watching a horse that's been tied to a plastic lawn chair. It thinks it can't go anywhere, but in fact, the very thing that's tying it down isn't really a thing at all. So the big mistake that I mentioned that you may be making is anchoring your pricing either to time or to fuzzy benefits. So I want to take a look at this a little bit closer, and I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, so here we've got this up right now. I'm going to draw this out for you so that we can take a closer look at what I'm talking about. So if this line represents your fees, and these are low fees, and this is high fees, and this line over here represents impact or perceived impact by your prospective customer or your customer, and this is low impact or high impact. The first group of people that I want to talk to you about are time traders. So time traders are just like how they sound. These are businesses who say things like, well, we charge $200 an hour. I think this project is going to take about 5 hours. And so their pricing is lower than or equal to market pricing. And because they're selling time, the client's perception of impact is low, right? Because they haven't said, here are the benefits we're going to provide you with. They're saying, here's the time it's going to take me. So you may save me time, but I don't really see how you're going to impact my business if I hire you, other than you saving me that time myself. So we've got these time traders, and the big challenge with being a time trader is you are handcuffed with your pricing. So what do I mean by that? You're handcuffed to market value, and it's really hard for you to raise your fees because you've basically dictated what you do based on the hours that it's going to take you to spend on a project. And so the time price for those hours is really going to be dictated on market. You know, what do your competitors charge per hour? So your pricing is really handcuffed. And then, as I mentioned, you've got limited perceived value, right? So what I mean by that is, again, for the money that I'm spending with you, the value that I see is limited strictly to time that you save me. So that's the first group we're talking about. The second group I want to talk to you about are promise traders. So promise traders are service providers who make promises like, if you work with me, I'm going to give you peace of mind. I'm going to give you unbelievable customer service. I'm going to improve your business. These are pretty vague promises, pretty fuzzy. They're oftentimes used by businesses as a point of differentiation, but they don't hold a tremendous amount of meaning for the person that you're talking to, either because your competitors are saying the exact same thing, or because they're what I like to call earn traits. So in other words, the only way I know that you are great at customer service or better at this or that is if I pay you money and choose to work with you, right? So that you've earned the right to use that trait because I've seen it once I've paid you money. But in the pre-sale process, they don't really mean very much. So the big challenges with being a promise trader are that you are not really believable, right? Especially pre-sale. So a lot of the promises, as I mentioned, are earn traits and are not very believable pre-sale, right? So all of these things that you're hanging your hat on don't have proof behind them quite yet. They also lack differentiation, right? Because anybody can say them. And we oftentimes find that when we do an audit of some of the clients that I work with, They'll tell me things like, we're unbelievable at customer service. We have the best customer service in the marketplace. We have the most talented staff. We do the most amazing work. Well, all of those things are very hard to nail down. And because they're hard to nail down or prove, you've got a lot of people who are competitors who are saying the exact same thing. And if I'm an uneducated consumer or a mildly educated consumer, and I look at you saying this, your competitor saying the same thing, another competitor saying the same thing, I really don't know who to believe. And then there's a lack of proof, right? So it's hard to keep customers. You might get them in based on your promise, but it's hard to keep them unless those promises become proof. So the last group I want to talk to you about are proof traders. So proof traders are businesses who anchor their pricing to the tangible value they provide. I want to give you an example of this. Many, many years ago, my ex-husband and I were approached by this company. They said to us, listen, you guys are probably overpaying when it comes to your cell phone bills, like most Canadians do. Here's what we can do for you. We can renegotiate your contracts with your cell phone provider. It doesn't matter which cell phone provider you use. We negotiate with them all. And we will negotiate lower rates for you. But here's the thing. You don't have to pay us until we negotiate those lower rates. And you don't have to pay us out of pocket. Just give us 50% of what we save you. So what they presented us with was pretty much an offer we couldn't refuse, right? So the money that I'm going to spend with a company like that is going to be less than what they can generate for me. And this is the key to being a proof trader. So all of you who are listening right now have done work for clients, and it's your job to really figure out what are the tangible benefits, the actual tangible results that you've gotten for clients over time. Those could be bottom line money saved, or it could be top line revenue generated. Time also converts to money. What is, if I wasn't doing this for you, what would you be spending to do it? So that's money that I can save you. So you have to be thinking about what are the tangible benefits that you can provide your clients with. So the benefit with being a proof trader is this is no-brainer spending. If I told you, if you pay me 50 cents, I'm going to generate $1 for you, I've kind of given you no option but to say yes. There's very little to argue with there. It also allows you to charge higher prices. And there's a couple of reasons for that. The main one being that you're incomparable, right? So where your competitors are probably hanging their hat on either promises or time, you're hanging your hat on results. And so the limit to what you can charge is only relative to the results you bring your customers. And so if you can generate millions of dollars of additional revenue for your clients, well, why on earth would you be charging $200 an hour for your time? The last point is that you are recession proof, or as recession proof as you could possibly be in business. Now we're in a recession right now. There's a lot of talks about our market crashing, whether that happens or not. The reality is that your customers right now are spending less, and they're taking a lot longer to make decisions. And so the less obstacles you can put in their way to making a decision, the easier it will be for you to sell what it is that you're selling. So the big lesson here is your pricing should be reflective of the impact that you generate for your customers. Your customers don't really care how much something costs you to make. And they also don't care about what can possibly happen if they hire you. They care about how much value they're receiving based on what it is that they're spending with you. Okay, so good lesson. Comment below and let me know your key takeaway from this video.